get started, I am not pro anything. I am a United States Army soldier. And so I'm mainly making this video because I kind of want to walk you guys through at least my emotions and what I go through when I hear news about my potential livelihood on TV. And it's absolutely crazy. Once you join the military, the news isn't the news anymore. Like I was saying in my other videos, the news is like, oh crap, we're going here potentially. Oh crap, we're going there potentially. And since I've been in for 6 years, I kind of developed this desensitivity towards news anymore. And in your military career, and I want my veterans and seasoned soldiers to put your take in the comments below. But like, I've been hearing news and stuff like this so much until I'm actually in the country, until I'm actually there, I don't really believe anything that I see or hear in the news. And so the comment was saying, talk about Donald Trump and the United States, doing what they did in Iran. And I don't think that's going to cause a war. As of right now, the time of this video, pretty much the United States, because of, if you guys don't know why we got here in the first place, Iran pretty much has been threatening Israel for a very long time, saying that things like death to Israel, death to the United States even. And so they have been working on a nuclear weapon. And obviously, you're not in defense of, Israel's point of view, geopolitics from your boy. Obviously, Israel isn't going to let somebody who's verbally threatening them, it's kind of like, stay right there, I'm going to punch you, or stay right there, wait. It's like your parent, right? Wait right there, I'm going to get my belt. You're obviously going to run away, or obviously if it's a stranger, you're not going to let that person get the weapon to harm you. And that's Israel's point of view, right? And so since Israel and their intelligence agencies kind of got notified, like, hey, Israel's getting really close to building a weapon that can destroy our entire existence, we're obviously, speaking for Israel at this point, not going to let them get that weapon. And so what did Israel do? They did covert strikes, pretty much destabilizing that threat to them. Now, Iran's point of view, people can say, oh, Iran as a sovereign nation should be able to get a nuke, whatnot, whatever, right? But I also feel like if your own allies or supporters at the moment, Russia, don't even want to give you a nuke or whatever, I feel like that's very telling. And then also, before I even get to the United States response, you got other countries in the Middle East like Saudi Arabia saying like, yeah, no, I don't even want Iran to get a nuke. And Israel, another country in the Middle East, has a nuke. So I feel like that's very telling. And so where this comes to play in the United States, the United States had a very, very peculiar opportunity with little to no air defenses for the entire country, allowing the United States to come in, neutralize the potential threat, neutralize the hostilities potentially in the region because of this unique opportunity Israel pretty much did. And it was like the United States and their experts decided this was a good thing to do, and they did it. Now, as of right now, Iran struck United States back with 14 ballistic missiles that were not only not effective, but they gave us a heads up ahead of time. So hopefully this whole thing cools down. But what I want to get into this video is that when you join the military, stuff like this is going to happen all the time. When I first got out of AIT, my unit, Fort Drum, the most deployed unit in the United States Army, they told me when I was still in AIT, like, yo, we're going to Afghanistan. Get ready. And I was like, oh, shit. This is real. I didn't want to go at the time. I was low-key nervous. I'm like, oh, shit, at least, give me some time to train, go to, a couple field exercises. But this is where I kind of get the attitude, unless I'm actually there, I'm not going to believe it, because I went to Fort Drum, and I never deployed. And I low-key want to deploy. And that's another thing. A lot of civilians are going to be panicking and scared and all this other stuff, but there's, a very large demographic in the military that are excited. They want to do this. I'm not gonna lie. After I went to JRTC, everybody who joins or everybody who's in can kind of relate. After I went to JRTC, and if you don't know what JRTC is, it's just a big long field exercises that absolutely suck, but you train to go to war. And after JRTC, I'm like, okay, yeah, if I'm gonna do this, I might as well deploy. and I didn't deploy. And so I say this to say, when you join the military, this is a part of their job. This is what the military is for. I've accepted that, hey, I joined the military and I could get deployed in a dangerous area. And I'm okay with that. I had that conversation with myself. So if you guys are thinking about joining, or you guys are in, have that conversation and, come to peace with it. And if you're thinking about joining the military and you want to serve your country, but you don't want to be that far on the front lines, you can absolutely choose a role. Now, I'm not going to guarantee you your entire safety. Being in the military, it's a dangerous occupation, but you can kind of mitigate that by joining a support MOS like a medical code. Obviously not a combat medic, but something like a patient administrator or an x-ray tech or like a supply, etc. But mind you, you still have the chance of getting deployed to a dangerous area and getting hurt. But that's just a part of the job. Now, if you want to see combat, if you want to do cool stuff, which I think is cool, I'm not gonna lie, but it's very, war is very brutal, but some aspects of it are cool. Your adrenaline gets pumped up, and the training that you get to prepare is pretty dope. If you're that type of person, join infantry, join all the combat MOSs, Cav Scout, artillery. Right now, air defense artillery, probably for the next decade, is probably going to get the most action, because I feel like it's just going to be a bunch of missile strikes or a bunch of drone strikes, and air defense artillery is the main people who are going to be operating. If you're infantry right now, I feel like it's just going to be like a bunch of gate duty or gate guards. Like, if you've been deployed, as far as the people who've been deployed that I know, all they told me is, like, once you deploy, right, nowadays, it's just a bunch of guard duty. There's really not much going on right now. You might get the occasional indirect, artillery, but as far as like peer on peer, like human contact, you're not really going to see much of that. So I want to hear you guys' thoughts below in the comments. I honestly have been so desensitized. Like, I've been hearing stuff about the Middle East since I was a private 17 years old, and like, there has been cases where service members have been unfortunately killed due to missile strikes, but there hasn't been a full-scale boots-on-the-ground war since we pulled out of Afghanistan, and I don't think the American people are going to be in full support of that happening anytime soon. My prediction, honestly, is Iran cools down. Iran realizes that, they're not going to let us get a nuclear weapon because we're not really the most rational regime to having a nuclear weapon. I think, honestly, it's just going to end up like how it's been going the past 20 freaking years, if you want my opinion. So have this conversation with yourself before you join the military. Have this conversation before you join a branch that is more likely to see combat versus like the Coast Guard or the Air Force or the Space Force. You know what I'm saying? If you guys are not in a branch right now, do your research on the branches that you guys actually want to serve in / what you potentially would want to get yourself into. So let me know in the comments below what your guys' predictions are. But I just thought I'd make this raw talk video kind of like getting my take. It's crazy, but you get used to it. Peace out. Love y'all boys. Subscribe if you're new. We're almost at 100K.